Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Van Churn.
My name is Patrick Ferry.
And guys, welcome to our show. Well, guys, what a big week we had this past week. We had some pretty exciting, end to the season performances, as well as some exciting preseason performances.
Yeah, Austin, it really looks like a lot of the players are taking their chances, and when it's on the line here, they're making an impact, whether it's promotion playoffs to cementing their places in the starting lineup. There's a lot going on.
That's true. And one other thing we want to talk about real quick in this first part is we got a big announcement. So we'll hold that off until the end of the episode. So make sure you stick around till the end today.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it, like Austin said. We listen to a lot of our fans in the comments, and just a way to, get our content in coming from a different avenue, Austin. So really exciting news.
So without further ado, we want to go into what we're going to talk about today, and that is one American making a big impact, helping his team into the Champions League semifinals.
And one young American starlet over in Germany, really impressing and making a massive impact in the preseason so far, proving why he is going to shine the Bundesliga this year.
And finally, another twist in the tale of one American player who's looking to make a move to the Premier League this summer. So all that and more in today's episode. So to start off today, we got to talk about the biggest event that happened this week. And Pat, that's Tyler Adams. So Tyler Adams came on for Leipzig in their big quarterfinal matchup with Atletico Madrid. Came on in the 72nd minute and scored the crucial game-winning goal in the final minutes there, giving Leipzig that 2-1 win. So big impact performance from Tyler, and that was definitely the biggest goal of his career. And obviously,
that was awesome. That had me energized, Austin, and I'm sure with everyone in the U.S. fan base, just for the tumultuous time with injuries, things like that, where coming on to, like you said, the biggest goal of his career, and such a European stage, the biggest stage that you could be on, making history with the club there, and really proving to the manager and the team why he's going to stay around for a long time.
Yeah, and like you said, it was the biggest goal in this club's history. I think I saw something over the weekend, and obviously Leipzig's pretty new, but they literally, were founded in 2009, and 10 years later, or I guess 11 years later, they're literally in the Champions League semifinal. It's a pretty crazy growth. Yeah, obviously, a lot of money has been pumped into them, but to be fair, they've kind of played by the rules, so to speak, as opposed to some other clubs like Man City and maybe Chelsea back in the day when they came up, PSG. But yeah, I mean, big goal for Tyler Adams. Obviously, he spent the first part of the season injured, so finally getting healthy and getting back on the pitch here after the restart and really showing what new coach Julian Nagelsmann can come to expect from him, I think has been the biggest part of this, his playing time since restart. So I think, Pat, this will be really good for him and will help him into that starting lineup maybe for the next game in the semifinals, but just going forward in the next season as well.
Yeah, and I think like you mentioned, just a perfect way. Kind of the icing on top of the cake there, where he can kind of cement himself, outside of that fullback position, really, dominating in the midfield. And I know he has some tough competition, especially at a squad with a lot of midfielders there, Campbell, and I know there's a few others. I think it's Lamer. Yep. So I know it's there's a high class and high quality there. But what he did in this game, and he came on and made an impact, is what he's got to do consistently now from here on at such a high level and high stage. But I know, we both know, and I'm sure all of our fans know, in terms of his mentality and the way he plays the game and his drive, he won't stop until he gets there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was very apparent, obviously, and like you said, we've seen it so much from him in the past. But this has really been the first time in his career where he's really gotten eyes on him outside of the American, soccer scene, I would say. And he gave a lot of interviews this week, and the big thing that I was just really, still excited to see. Like I said, we've seen it so much now that it's so refreshing to still see it, is just his confidence and just, directness. When he was asked a lot of these questions about taking on PSG, which is, club that has Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, like some of the biggest names on the planet, he was very direct in saying that, he's played against these guys in the past, with the full national team, and those names don't really phase him. So yeah, seeing that was awesome. And it's awesome to think that we have a 21-year-old that's got such a good head on his shoulders, and hopefully will be a future captain in the future. But to go into this game just a little bit more, Tyler came on in the 72nd minute, was kind of subbed into, Leipzig played a lot of different formations throughout this game, but when he came on, he was kind of like a right-sided center mid, and really kind of worked out of the midfield for the first 5 or 6 minutes. And then Leipzig kind of made another substitution and changed to a 3 at the back or a 5 at the back formation. And that was when he got kind of switched back into that right wing back role. So from there, Pat, he kind of pushed up the field when Leipzig, were able to create this chance, and did a great job just coming inside, finding space, and taking the ball off a great pass. And settling it and setting himself up for a shot, which was deflected, but deflections still count all the same. So
the goal's the goal, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't be too picky in a situation like this. So yeah, just to finish this segment off, we had we talked about Julian Nagelsmann and kind of how Tyler was injured for the first part of his tenure here at Leipzig. So, and I think Tyler even alluded to it in one of these interviews I watched, that, it hasn't been the smoothest transition from him, and kind of him getting ingrained with Julian Nagelsmann just because he's been injured. So Julian, after the game, actually had some good words for Tyler. And he basically said, "I'm very happy with Tyler. He's someone who always takes it to the limit, a very emotional player. He's someone who wants to improve every day and listens to the general manager and coaching staff." So, that fits right in with what we've seen from Tyler so far. And, getting on the good side of his coach is never a bad thing.
No, couldn't agree more. And just in terms of the way, Leipzig has had this culture and kind of building it over the 10 or 11 years now, like you mentioned, where, building all the way up to now they're in the semifinals of the Champions League. And again, Bayern's on a whole nother level right now, but really competing there in the Bundesliga as well, where Adams really just exemplifies in what the manager was saying in the quotes there, and just the philosophy of the club. Adams, really could be, if he keeps performing strong, I believe, a really maybe a captain or just a team leader for Leipzig and kind of their ambitions, and he just fits it so well and molds into it.
Now, before we move on, I must ask you, do you think Leipzig have a chance against PSG? I know a lot of people counted out Lyon and, were completely, caught slipping, so to speak. So do you think Leipzig have a chance against PSG?
Yeah. And again, I think just very blanket statement, I think they have a chance. I think it's obviously going to be very, very difficult, but if they can kind of, sit back a little bit more, take some of those blows and hope that Neymar, misses more and more chances, but Mbappe, obviously a threat there. And I don't know, Austin. I mean, of course, maybe I'm biased in thinking Leipzig has a shot. I think, I'd rather them be playing, I guess, PSG than a Bayern per se. I think Bayern, I would have 100% just, destroy elimination. I think Bayern is the team to beat here. Again, I don't think it's necessarily a bad move or a bad matchup for them. Anything's possible at this moment. We've seen some teams make some incredible runs, but it's going to take some lucky chances, I'll admit, and some miracles and top level performances from the Leipzig players. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say, we already saw what Bayern did to them earlier this year, and it wasn't very pretty. So, yeah, I think, I think if they play the way they played in this game, against Atletico, which is a very good team, obviously a very different style of team,
Right.
Different type of players, but if they can play with that same energy and tenacity, they were really, really played the game on the front foot. We're very confident in that game. If they can kind of approach this game in that way, I think they'll have a chance. But like you said, it's going to be like them playing well and putting themselves in a position to get kind of lucky at certain points. I don't think they're that far off PSG, but at the same time, PSG is just, even in that game against Atalanta, they definitely had, a lot of good moments. And like you said, Neymar missed a few chances in that game that easily could have put that game away early on. So, I think they got to kind of play well and then also get a little lucky too. But it's good to see an American, in that position. So,
yeah, no, couldn't agree more, Austin. And again, kind of shifting gears over to Italy here, an American also playing in a crucial promotion playoff here is our boy Andrija Novakovich, Austin.
That's right.
So he's had a long path here with Frosinone Calcio, where just in the regular season all the way up to this kind of a grueling, extensive Serie B promotion playoff, all the way now up to after handling Pordenone with a nice kind of comeback 2-0 win. And Andrija, had that nice goal previously,
right.
all the way to the final against Spezia there. And the first leg, I was unaware, Austin, that it was 2 legs for the final, which is interesting. But Andrija started and played the 84 minutes there, subbed off, and a 1-0 loss for Frosinone. So they go to Spezia Stadium. Obviously, we were talking about this off camera. The home and away doesn't really, I guess, apply at this point. Besides the pitch, I mean, the atmosphere and the fans, not being there right now, is completely different and throws that off with the advantage. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough game to kind of come back from, Austin, especially with everything on the line.
Yeah, and we should mention too, last week we thought this was going to be a 1-leg final, and it turned out it's actually a 2-leg final there in Serie B. So definitely adds a different twist to that promotion playoff.
Yeah, hey, gives them another lifeline, another chance, right? So kind of diving into the game a little bit more, I was able to catch a stream of it, and it was kind of back and forth. Spezia, obviously, the first half came out flying pretty well, and Frosinone made some errors in the back, and Spezia has some fast wingers and attackers. I think Yassi, the 20-year-old, is one of them who put the ball in the back of the net there after some errors from Frosinone, but he was kind of a nightmare on the flanks and the center attacking points all day long for that game. In terms of Andrija, it was a pretty mixed performance where he did all he could in terms of sprinting forward, putting pressure on the back line of the opposing team, kind of dropping in to receive the ball, kind of that outlet for settling the ball and in terms of playing other players and kind of winning aerial duels. But some of those chances weren't coming, and those chances created in terms of the midfielders and the service provided, unlike the other game against Pordenone. You could see at the end of Austin, when Andrija was subbed off, he was a little frustrated at himself, had a nice elbow to one of the opponent's face that kind of obviously was rolling the ground a little bit to waste some time. But, right after that, moments later, subbed off and, throwing, I think, a water bottle or, slamming his arm in the air or shaking in the air. So you could see he's hungry and desire to, make that second leg very memorable.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. A little passion from time to time definitely adds something to a player's game.
Yeah, again, Austin, and couldn't agree more. So it'll be interesting to see. I still think he has it in him. Again, it's been he's played a lot of games. I think across all competitions, there's 37 or 38, and this will keep going. And he's had 5 goals and 8 assists, which is pretty decent numbers for coming in here to the team and. Really kind of cementing, at least at the end here, being a lock starter and playing consistent minutes. And especially during this playoff run and post COVID when they came back, he really made an impact there for Frosinone. But Yeah, it'll be kind of. It would be awesome. I know to see. It's going to be hard. A grueling match coming up. I believe it's August 20th. But if he can get to Serie A, I know there's going to be a lot of changes and moves when teams get promoted. But just to see him kind of lead this team and kind of where he came from in terms of Reading and that whole situation and some loan moves to Serie A would be, incredible.
Yeah, and I think, going away from Reading, we were a little concerned. He had such a good last 2 years in the Netherlands, and then moving to Italy was kind of uncharted territory. So it's good to kind of see him get his legs under him. And if he doesn't get promoted this season, then next year he's got something to build on for another year in Serie B.
Right. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. So we'll be rooting for Andrija, Austin. All the best. We'll stay tuned to that. Exciting, second leg there for the Serie B promotion playoffs. But some other exciting news heading to Germany in the preseason AVT with Borussia Dortmund. That young starlet I was mentioning earlier, Gio Reyna, having an incredible start for the 2 games here, or 3 goals. So we'll kind of circle back quickly, starting with that 6-0 win against Altach, I believe, in Austria. So for that goal, Austin, he again was starting for the first 45 and had a nice connection with Holland, which we've kind of seen some bros on and off the pitch. He's kind of at the right spot at the right time where Dortmund was pressing out of the back, Altach made some errors trying to possess the ball and move it forward, where Dortmund capitalized there. Holland found the ball, slotted it to the left, and Reyna, cool and composed, slotted it on the ground past the keeper for that goal. And then the next game, Austin, another 45 minutes where he started there. And it was a pretty brutal beatdown. And I was saying this off camera to you. Thank goodness EPB was not involved for this Austria-Wien game. Completely brutal. So 11-2, where again Gio opened up the scoring, where he found himself in the right spot in midfield, kind of made a darting run, found that pocket of space where he's kind of playing a 1-2 combo. The ball kind of got bobbled around and intercepted, but he continued his run, sped past the back line, and again slotted it underneath the keeper for a low shot, which was nice to see. And then that second goal, just want to highlight really quick here before I let you dive in. I know I'm spin out a lot from these games here, but again, it was another scenario where it was a beautiful build-up play and an awesome backheel assist from I believe it's Akanji. I always get the name incorrect there. So Reyna was in the right place at the right time, and again, another goal. He just found himself in a perfect run inside the box there, past the keeper. So nice to see him making an impact. So what do you think, Austin, of his performances?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, both games, Dortmund really took it to their opponent. So, they were definitely far above the class of the teams they played. So I think, throughout the game, you could definitely see Gio have bright moments, but then there's times where, the team as a whole kind of took it, a little bit lazy and, we're kind of walking through the game a little bit. So I don't want to put too much stock in it, but I definitely think, seeing him score goals and especially, open the scoring for the team the first 2 games, I think that's a big, sign of intent from the 17-year-old. So, I think, it's going to be a good season for him. He obviously started these 2 games, but it looked like most of the starters came in the second half, at least for the Vine game. So, we'll have to kind of see where he falls in that depth chart. But I think, Pat, he's kind of there. If he's not in the starting lineup, he's, still in that first player off the bench position for the upcoming season.
Yeah, seems like either that door has been open or he is in the process of just knocking it down completely and bulldozing that door over. So, I mean, he's right there, like you said. And I know there's some competition, and you mentioned it too, but I know with Torgan Hazard, some other midfielders that Dortmund have, in terms of
William Brandt.
William Brandt. And then I believe you mentioned too something about Marco Reus, some updates there. I think he's still maybe injured.
Yeah, I believe he's getting surgery, or he got surgery. So it sounds like it might be another season full of injuries for him. So that means more minutes for Reyna.
Yeah, it's awful to see. I mean, I said this here earlier. He's kind of made of glass there. It seems like, unfortunately, a really skillful player, Royce. But again, yeah, if Reyna can kind of take those chances, and it just seems like, again, from the small sample size, and I know you mentioned for this game, the second game, more of the starters came on in the second half, but I think Reyna has all the makings to really cement himself as a starter this year and make a huge impact. And the talent that Dortmund has, obviously, with the team at Bayern's level, will be kind of interesting how he performs and gets his chances when he matches up against Bayern and some of those Leipzig, even, and some of those top competitors in the Bundesliga. I think Reyna is really ready to make an impact. Again, I don't want to make any predictions, but I could see well over the 6 goals, 6 assists stat. I don't know if that's too bold, but
yeah, I think that's got to be the bar. And I was just going to chime in one last time with what I really liked from these 2 games is his demeanor. Because, last year at the end of the season, I think it was me who was kind of saying, like, it seemed like he got into the swing of things, like he got his feet under him, but then kind of coasted
right.
those substitute appearances, almost like he was, he knew that, coming on, he wasn't, coming on to really change the game. He was just coming on to kind of see the game out. So he didn't really, really have that much pressure on him. So what I really liked in these 2 games was, he obviously started off the scoring, but the way he did it, when he was celebrating with his teammates, it was almost like, yeah, this is nothing for me. Like I'm not satisfied. So that's, 6 goals, 6 assists. I think that's a good bar to set, if he's not a lock starter, or not even a lock starter, but if he's not, starter from day one, then, getting those numbers and
right
here and there and substitute appearances will definitely be something to kind of challenge him for the season.
Yeah, again, I think it's just all positive vibes and expectations are there, and like you said about the demeanor.
Yeah, positive vibes. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So yeah, like you said, he has all the makings there. His attitude, demeanor, his skill set is so advanced where he knows he still needs to improve on things. And I know he kind of mentions being aware on the pitch, which obviously we're seeing great results from that. But to see that he's not satisfied, like you said, great news there. So yeah, excited about Gio's progress.
The future is bright, Pat. The future is
bright.
Yeah, staying in the Bundesliga, we have another preseason performance to talk about, and actually 2 for the same team. So, a big one that we've kind of been waiting for, and unfortunately it didn't really go as planned, is Nick Taitague, getting some
back
with Schalke's first team. So Nick kind of played the first half of, I think it was a 120-minute friendly for Schalke. They played kind of 2 60-minute halves, which was definitely out there. But
really, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, it was definitely not a regular 45-minute half. And I watched this game too. So
wow.
Unless I switched off at times, but I came back and saw that. So yeah, so Nick unfortunately didn't even play a quarter of that time. He only played 29 minutes. And at the end of the day, Schalke lost this friendly 5-4. And this was against the team Verl, who just got promoted from the 4th division there in Germany. So not a good showing, but to kind of go along that same line, I guess. So Nick came off in the 29th minute. Could be for fitness, could be for just not a great performance. He didn't really impart himself on the game. I was going to say, Schalke as a whole really didn't do well this game. So, coming off or starting the game, they had a lot of 2-team players on the field, and they played like a 2-team. They were really disjointed. They kept losing the ball and just couldn't create chances and really just were not looking cohesive. So unfortunately, Nick didn't really stand out. He didn't really do anything great. He actually gave the ball away once that led to a chance, which I don't believe they scored on. And it was not the best performance. But, Nick's obviously, in the past, he's been injured a lot. And it sounded like he kind of picked up a minor injury earlier on in preseason. So this could be just, him getting subbed off due to, them trying to work him back into the fold little by little. But, not a good day for Schalke. And then in the second half, Weston McKennie came on for his first, preseason action since this whole transfer rumor mill going around him has been swirling recently. And he looked okay. He looked a little rusty. Again, Schalke were not great, so that kind of played a role, I think, in just their vibe on the day. But most of the first team players were on the pitch for the second half, so they kind of stabilized the game a little bit. And nothing really crazy to report on for Weston in this game. So before we move on, though, there is some news about Weston off the pitch, and it sounds like that move to Hertha Berlin, which we talked about in our past few episodes, is now off. And I guess it was never truly on, but it seemed like that was the main destination for Weston. So, with that being said, Pat, what do you think? Do you think that was a bullet dodged, or do you think that's a move that really would have, in retrospect, helped his career?
Yeah, it's a unique and interesting situation for Weston. Part of me, and maybe it's more selfish, just wanted that immediate out for him in terms of the sinking ship that Schalke seems to, they certainly have a few leaks.
There's a lot of Werder Bremen similarities.
Yes, couldn't agree more. Yeah, kind of scary there. But yeah, I feel like, again, like I said, maybe it was me being selfish. I wanted Hertha, maybe some good money there. But I guess thinking more about it in the long run, and I know you can kind of dive into it more, but Hertha's project is still a little new and fresh, and there's been, even with the Klinsmann trial and some other interesting moves that and kind of acquisitions they've made, and haven't really been cementing themselves in any European football in terms of Champions League and in that elite competition. So it just seemed like that move might not necessarily would have panned out for him, and could have been almost a kind of like in between a lateral and upward, if that kind of makes sense, and would really hope that he holds out for whether it's a low league, Premier League move. And I know we were talking about some of the clubs he's been linked to, but yeah, I think that would be a better option. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and to be fair, Hertha really haven't had time to really put their project on display, but I've not been in favor of this move. I think at best it would have been, like you said, kind of in that between of a lateral and upward, but I really don't think it would have been that much of a upgrade on old Schalke. Now, new Schalke and where they're
right
is not a good destination. So, I think it's safe to say Weston has to get out, and we'll see about some of those other prospects that we have at Schalke. But, I think looking at where Schalke has been, I don't think Hertha, talking about Champions League, I don't think Hertha is really going to get there in the next year or two. Like, and we were talking about this off camera. Like, you can't say Hertha is better than Bayern, Dortmund.
Absolutely not.
I'm trying to think Leipzig. Like, Leipzig's better than them.
Mönchengladbach, maybe. Or...
Yeah. So there's like a lot of teams that on paper and just the way they play, that are going to make it really tough for Hertha to even get a Europa League spot. Like, I don't even think they're much better than Wolfsburg or Eintracht Frankfurt. So, I just wasn't on board with that move. Now, obviously, staying at Schalke is a risk. Don't get me wrong. I think, I think it's a little bit different than what we saw of Josh Sargent at Bremen last year, where Josh was, handicapped kind of by poor service. Right. He didn't really do his best job finishing chances either, but Bremen just as a whole were not great last year. So Schalke looked like they're heading that direction this year. But I think what was telling at the end of last year for Weston was that he actually played very well. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal if he stays on this team. As long as he can kind of keep that same level of play, even if they don't do well. I think he'll stand out a little bit more. Maybe he's the captain this year, which has kind of gotten floated out there before, these transfer rumors heated up. So maybe it kind of boosts his rep a little bit more. And like you said, Pat, a Premier League team comes in, maybe at the end of this window here, but maybe in the winter, looking for some reinforcements at a cheap price, because, we'll see what Schalke do financially. And if not, in the winter, then maybe next summer. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it would have been a safe move for him. But I think, to really challenge himself and kind of be on that level of like Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Sergiño Dest, players like that, where it looks like they're going to be playing at some of the biggest clubs in the world. Like, I think he's got to hold out for a move that'll kind of push him into that echelon. So that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, and I was going to quickly add, couldn't agree more. I think he's seeing that, and it seems like his camp, in terms of him too, wanted to hold out for Premier League or bigger moves. Maybe again, don't want to put words in his mouth, but in his camp. But yeah, I think they were a little bit skeptical, or it seems skeptical in general, of the Hertha project. And like you said, whether it's during some time here at the sinking ship, he can be that that captain there, instructing everybody, still doing his job, performing well, and some other ships passing by, he can hop across there, swim across the water.
Got the SOS side out.
The SOS side. So yeah, complete agreement with you. Just wanted to say that.
Cool. So I think we got one more transfer rumor to add into this this episode. One more
one more Austin to add, and another exciting left back here over moving from the Championship hopefully to the Premier League, and that's Antonee Robinson. So it looks like, and this is from, I think, Transfer Changer and then a bunch of other sources here and outlets, that it looks like Fulham are set to sign the Wigan left back for around maybe 1.8 to 2 million pounds. So kind of exciting deal there, Austin. Just in terms of a club like Fulham, you could say with Ream there, boy, Fulham America, where he could make an impact on the Premier League level, where a team, I think it's a good situation where it's a team that's kind of come up and will be kind of grinding in and out for those performances and really not possessing a lot. So you'll be able to work on your defensive ability a little bit more, in terms of that regards. And just the way the Premier League is and the modern fullbacks, where Anthony can, further expand his skills, and what we've seen going forward, and having better quality crosses and bursting runs that we've seen these fullbacks in the Premier League have. So yeah, I mean, I know there were some other rumors there floated, Austin, with some other clubs, and want to see your thoughts. Is this the best move for him, or was another opportunity, I think, in mind?
Yeah, I mean, the one question I had for you, Pat, is the Fulham hero Joe Bryan actually left back. So does that kind of impact Antonee Robinson's playtime any, or
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I think it it does initially off the bat, but I know there's been some rumors or some rumblings in terms of Joe Bryan having a few goals, and like you said, being the hero there, where he can kind of burst forward, maybe shifting the formation or moving him up the field a little bit further in a more attacking type role, to fit Anthony and his qualities. Just some rumors, but some options where maybe that'd be the case, because competing directly one-on-one with the this 26-year-old 43 capped for the season hero is going to be very difficult for Anthony to come in and kind of take that spot right away, where he'd probably have to really show on the training ground what he's made of day in, day out, to compete against somebody like that. But again, yeah, not knocking Anthony's qualities. I still think he has it in him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, looking at that, that gives me a little bit of concern. I do think, the move that made the most sense for me was the Sheffield United move. I really like that move, but yeah, I think Fulham's a fine move. It's a team that spent a lot of money a few years ago and it didn't work out so well. So
No.
I think they're going to be smart with how they spend, and I think they're going to be even more motivated now to kind of stay in the Premier League. So we'll see. I think it's a better move than like Wigan. I wasn't totally on board with that move. Looking at it again, and then West Ham's, I don't know. They almost seem like a sinking ship, a team I really wouldn't want to join right now. So yeah, I think there's definitely excitement, or reason to be excited about this move. So yeah, I'm happy to say we'll see hopefully Anthony in the Premier League next year.
Yeah. Hopefully that is confirmed soon here, and maybe as we're editing and this gets posted. But we'll kind of have to keep you guys updated. I guess wanted to quickly note here. I know in terms of some outlets and odds makers and just predictions here. Like you said, Fulham just spent a lot of money, and it's not this kind of same team that's coming up. They didn't finish at the top of the Championship there to get here. I believe it was fourth they finished ultimately. But again, maybe there's some kind of reverse psychology or kind of luck here where, the expectations aren't, this team spent a lot of money first in the championship, they're going to stay up. So we'll kind of have to see that again, because year by year, the Premier League is just unbelievable competition.
True. So with that being said, let's head over now to Quick Kicks.
All right, guys, I think you know what time it is. It's my favorite time of the show. I know it's yours, and I'm pretty sure it's Austin's. I'm going to assume. But none other than Quick Kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
So to start Quick Kicks today, we have Alex Méndez, and we just want to let you guys know that Alex actually traveled with Ajax's first team on their preseason tour to Austria. So good luck, and good to see Alex in in that first team training.
Yeah, that's awesome, Austin, and kind of staying there with Ajax, but with Sergiño Dest. He was involved and played the second half in a 5-1 win for Ajax against FC Utrecht in the friendlies. So Dest has been linked now to strong to Juventus. Barcelona's thrown in there, so it'll be even Bayern. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where he lands.
That's true. And staying with the Netherlands theme, we have Richie Ledezma and Chris Gloster. So both started, and actually Richie scored in young PSV's friendly over the weekend. And then on Monday, only Richie Ledezma started, and that was in a 1-0 loss to FC Eindhoven. So, I wish, Pat, we were seeing them again with the first team, but it looks like, young PSV starting their season, and both Richie and Chris are with them. So
yeah, again, something we'll have to keep a close eye on, and hopefully they can kind of make that jump and make an impact there. But moving to France, Austin, Kaile Auvray had a productive start to preseason here and scored for Lille's U17s in their opening 1-0 win. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah, and he was our young last week, so good to see him doing good things. And then next we have, if you can follow me, Pat, we've got Bryang, Kayo, Llanez, and Michael Edwards. So all played in Wolfsburg 2's 0-0 friendly draw this weekend. So Kayo and Edwards actually played the first half, and then Llanez subbed on for the second half. So good to see our Wolfsburg contingent. I wish we could make a clever name from like the Hobros, but maybe we'll.
Right.
But good to see them all, getting action in preseason, and for what we hear, impressing too. So, yeah,
that's great. And heading back to France, with Nico Gioacchini started and played 70 minutes in a 1-0 win for Caen against Le Mans. So let's hope Gioacchini continues and has a great season here ahead.
Yeah, I'm really excited about him. And, we have a good buy today, another one, and that's Brady Scott. So Brady Scott actually, former Cologne Academy goalkeeper, will actually be going back to America and signed a deal with Nashville SC and MLS. So congrats to Brady, and, best wishes. Good luck.
Yeah, it'll be nice kind of to see him develop, back here in the States and kind of revive and kind of put in some strong performances and still such a young career. But yeah, Austin, heading to Belgium with Chris Durkin. He actually started and played the full 90 for Sint-Truiden. Unfortunately, they lost against the Belgian powerhouse Anderlecht 3-1 there.
So that's all for today's episode, guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel down below.
And as always, check out our Instagram, Twitter, putting out some great content, especially with all this action going on in Reyna's rise, as well as some other transfer rumors, things along those lines. So a lot of content coming up for the new season here.
That's true. And finally, we got to get to our big announcement, Pat. We've been waiting all episode. Hopefully you guys have been too.
That's right, Austin. And I'm setting a drum roll for you.
So that is, we are now on 3 podcasting platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So, this is something we've been trying to find time to do over the past few months, and something that, we've heard you guys, ask about many times over the past few months. And we're excited to say we're officially available in podcast form now. So definitely, go to our page and leave us a review. If you like what you hear, right, Pat?
Definitely. Yeah, like you said, Austin, and you guys have been so great at commenting on YouTube in terms of Twitter and Instagram interacting. So, like you said, if you like what you hear, please leave us a review there. And yeah, it's nice to be in this podcasting game now and kind of get our platform out there, AVT.
Yeah. We've got a great following. We love you guys, and interacting with you, like you said, Pat, on all platforms, media platforms. So yeah, hopefully being available in podcast form will help you guys out and help you listen to it easier in your car, on your commute, and other places you listen to podcasts, I guess, doing your workouts and things like that. So yeah, we like I said, we've been wanting to do this for a little while now, and finally we're able to pull the trigger. It made the most sense for us and you guys, so we're happy to do it.
Yeah, and all the ideas have finally come to fruition. And speaking of, I guess, kind of more ideas and news, I know can't tell too much now, Austin, but we have some other things in the works that you guys will be excited about.
That's true. Yeah, including something that we should be pushing out in the next week or so, next 2 weeks. So definitely keep your eyes on our social media accounts. Something that is a little give back to you guys. So yeah, I think that's kind of it for today, Pat. I feel like
there's
nothing left to be said.
Yeah, again, a lot of exciting news. A little longer of an ending, but again, all these things being able to voice our these young Yas and players we're identifying in Europe and that you guys like as well. It's all kind of building to one thing here.
And that is, one day we will win the World Cup.